Hello everybody! What are we going to be talking about today? Well, I'm wearing my Yngwie Malmsteen t-shirt and I ran across a post on the Yngwie Malmsteen guitar and gear enthusiast group recently that made me realize I need to share a little bit more information about this specific Yngwie Malmsteen guitar, right? So it is called the Yngwie Malmsteen Standard. This was an export from Japan. It was advertised, or Fender rather. Fender says that it was sold from 1991 to 1993. I think in the Fender Frontline Catalog, it was advertised for sale from I think 1990 to 1994. So, you know, maybe they started early and finished a little bit late because they had excess inventory, whatever the case may be, right? I had one of these. This was actually my very first Yngwie Malmsteen guitar, and I had no idea what the heck it was, and I had never seen another one until I started buying catalogs. You know, the old Fender Frontlines. I started really looking into some of the Japanese catalogs and things like that, and I could never freaking find this thing, right? So I was just flipping through all the script because there's no pictures of this thing anywhere except for on a Fender poster that I found. So I found this in Fender Frontline Catalog, in the back of the catalog, just in the little kind of descriptions. And it said Fender Yngwie Malmsteen Standard. And it proceeded to describe this exact model. So let me grab one. So this one is the white version, right? So you can see it's not quite as yellow as a traditional Yngwie Malmsteen Strat, right? So at least from what someone I talked to said when they took one of these to Yngwie to have him sign, he knew what it was at the time. And he said, oh yeah, the ones that are, you know, the American signature models and the regular Japanese are like the car colors of the era, you know, from the 60s and stuff, 70s. And this one is not. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But obviously it's different, right? It's a little bit more closer to a traditional white or an off-white versus a yellowish type color. But we'll start from the top, as we always do. You can see it's a little bit different, right? It has the bullet. So they were way ahead of the US on the bullet, but it has two string trees. So they were more towards the traditional early 70s Strats. So this one, the first part of the numbers that you'll find in the neck pocket is ST72. So that means Stratocaster 1972. So they're building it based on those type of specs, right? Check out this, right? So these are some early ones. Let me see. They are, so it just says made in Germany, but they look a lot like the Godos, and we'll see that on some of my other ones. So I have all three colors that this was available in. It took me years and years to find them because they just don't pop up that much. But yes, this is a 100% legitimate Yngwie Malmsteen signature made by or for export in Japan, the only Japanese export. And I've talked to people from all across the world that have come across these guitars, and some of you may have had them yourself, right? So how does it differ otherwise? So I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but the scallops on these generally aren't super great. So it'll have a little flat spot and then a scallop and then another little flat spot. And the scallops are, you know, like these ones are a little bit deeper on the higher frets, and they're especially deeper on the treble side versus the bass side, right? So it's a little bit more like a, why am I drawing freaking blank? The other guy that uses scallops, I don't remember. But anyway, oh, Blackmore, there you go. So they're more like Blackmore in that his are kind of scalloped more over here, deeper on the treble side, right? It has a plastic nut, right? Plastic nut. So yes, that's completely different than all of the other Yngwie Malmsteen signature series. Terrible scallops. This one I got lucky and got some really cool grain patterns on it. I don't know how much you'll be able to see, but this one has a very nice looking neck, whereas some of the other ones not quite so much. So this one has vintage frets, right? Instead of jumbos, super jumbos, extra super jumbos, shallow scallops. So these were meant to be more of a copy of his duck guitar, right? So Japan in the early 90s was already trying to get more close to his duck guitar. Why they did all the black plastics, I have no idea. Because if you try to talk to anybody at Fender, they have no idea about these guitars, right? It's too obscure, too rare, etc., etc., right? So these actually came with single coils in all three positions. This guitar has HS3s and then just the single coil in the middle. And they could have been American and they could have been Japanese single coils. It just depends on what they had at their disposal, right? You'll notice the bridge. Let's see if I can get it in there. See, it doesn't have the traditional stamped saddles. These are die cast, and I always keep the plates on mine, but the bridge block is also die cast instead of regular steel or whatever they use, right? So that's mainly the differences. You get a little 5-way switch, so you can get a lot of those Strat tones, especially if you leave those single coils in there like some of them have. So like I said, this one was swapped out. This is the white color. Now check it out. This one is blue, right? It doesn't look blue, it looks green, right? So the cool thing is the paint color number that this guitar, and I forget off the top of my head, but it's considered Sonic Blue and aged Sonic Blue, which this is. You know, Sonic Blue will age out to a greenish color because it yellows. Oh yeah, 3-bolt, I forgot about that. 3-bolt neck, but you'll see 2 string trees, right? Got the bullet signature on the headstock, doesn't have the extra logo of, you know, synchronized tremolo. Head shape or headstock shape is a little different than the American ones, especially in this little, it's more smoothly rounded versus like a hook, kind of like the Americans, right? Then we'll look on the back. Goto tuners. I don't know if that'll focus in, yeah. So Goto tuners, that's what you're going to mostly see on these versus the traditional older style, right? This one, scallops are a little bit better, but they're still incredibly shallow. This one also has HS3s. The really, really, really obscure thing about this particular one is look at that bridge. That is an American standard bridge, right? And when I was flipping through some of the Fender Frontlines, I think it was 91 or 92, I can't remember which one, it says tremolo, American standard, right? And it took me probably a decade to find this guitar. This is the only one I've ever seen that actually has the American standard bridge, and it was put in print in the Fender Frontline Catalog, so I have no doubts that it's supposed to be there. But definitely weird to see an American bridge on a Japanese guitar, right? You'll see the serial numbers are down here at the base of the neck, and they should all say made in Japan for this particular model, because these were made in the Fujigen factory. So they're incredibly well made. You know, like I said, the scallops are a little bit less consistent, and it's going to have different pickups, etc. This one, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it looks like it was signed by Yngwie at some point many years ago, and maybe somebody tried to clean it off. Why they would do that, I have no idea, because, I mean, it's kind of cool that it's there, and it looks legit, because I have a couple that are signed by Yngwie. And then the next one. So this one, this one's literally the hardest one to find. It took me a long, long time to find this one in black, and you do not see them. I've maybe seen 4 pop up in, you know, since the late 90s. So they don't pop up very often, and I look, believe me, I look everywhere, all across the nation, all across the world, and I'm always looking for Yngwie guitars, because there's a few left that I still wanted to get, you know. But same thing, you'll see 2 string trees. Plastic nut. The other one had a brass nut, but that was put on afterwards, right? It has the Goto tuners. And I'm sure you may remember this from some of my videos, but the skunk stripe on the Japanese guitars, for whatever reason, is longer than the American one. So I don't know if it's part of their process or just how they differentiate themselves. But you can see the scallops have that kind of little flat spot, flat spot in between the frets. It's kind of annoying, but you know, if you find out the sweet spots, then it's not really a bother. And it's very shallow, which apparently, I haven't seen one yet, but the Duck is supposed to be also very shallow scallops, not big deep scallops like some of the newer guitars. This one actually has all 3 single coils, so if I want to get more traditional Strat tones, I pull this bad boy out and I can get all of those tones, right? Because it has a 5-way switch, single coils in all 3 positions. But yes, this is a 100% legitimate Yngwie Malmsteen signature. I just wanted to share with you guys because there was a bit of confusion in the group, and you know, I thought I had shared enough about these, but apparently not. Anyway, that's all. If you like my content, please like, comment. I love talking to you guys. Share and subscribe. Thank you.